Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so for today, we continue with our revision. Okay, let's take a look regarding the chapter 6. Okay, which is about project planning, the schedule and the budget. So what you need to know in this chapter, we need to know how we can develop a Gantt chart. And for your information, the Gantt chart, you can get the template in Excel, or you can use any project management tool such as Microsoft Project, and lots of free tools that you can download from the internet. Okay, that we can develop the Gantt chart, develop the project network diagram using the technique called activity on the node, AON. And from that, we can identify the project critical path and explain why it must be controlled and managed. The next one, develop the PERT diagram. Okay, and then describe the concept of precedence diagramming. Okay, identify finish to start, start to finish, finish to finish, and start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish activity relationship. Besides that, we also need to know on how we can describe the concept of critical change project management, or known as CCPM. Describe the various types of costs that make up the project budget, and define what is meant by the baseline project plan. Okay, let's go further detail. So what is the project schedule? So it's determined based on task and time estimate in the work-based schedule. Okay, work-based schedule introduced in previous chapter, chapter 5. So this the schedule will also depend on how activity is or activities are sequenced. Means that we have the some sort of activities, and how actually we schedule the activity and show it in the sequence so that we know what need to be done first, second, so on and so forth. So on top of that, we also look at the project budget, okay, that can be determined based on the activities and time estimate. Okay, so as well as the cost for the resources assigned. Okay, so the objective of this schedule and project budget is to create a realistic project schedule and budget. Okay, the term here, to create a realistic, okay, realistic project budget and schedule. Okay, because if we just provide the numbers without any specific what we call it, reference or justification, so yang tu we cannot say as a realistic. This one, because we have standard of the calculation, we have standard of how we can estimate the time, we can estimate the activities. So that's what we call a realistic project schedule and budget. Okay, so these are the framework, okay, from MOV, scope, phases, tasks, and we have the resources. So resources, sequence, and time estimate. So this all are the connection with the schedule and the budget. Okay, for the project management tools, we can use the Gantt chart. Okay, we can also use the project network diagram known as AON, the activity on node. So we can also calculate the critical path analysis, okay, PERT diagram, program evaluation and review technique, as well as the precedence diagramming method. Okay, so this is a very simple Gantt chart. Okay, you have a task. Okay, so in this case you have 5 tasks. Okay, and you have the duration for the task. So for example, this one we can say takes about 15 months or 15 weeks or 15 days. So we can see that task A start from week 1 until week 4, and task B can start from week 2 until week 6. Okay, so means that it's not necessary to complete task A, then we can go for the task B. We can do it parallel, or after 1 week of task A start, we can start task B. So and so forth. Okay. Okay, so from here we can see task B, task C, okay, task D and task E. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, we have the phases here, analysis, design, development, and we have the activities. Okay, so from this we can see the duration as well as who's responsible for this particular task. So how we can read this Gantt chart? Okay, phase one analysis. There are 4 tasks. Okay, so Mike is the one who responsible for the task. So the task gonna start at uh, the phase start at Friday until Thursday. Okay, for example, maybe if we can see the previous one, then we know where it start actually. So this is how Mike responsible to do the on-site meeting, discuss with the stakeholders, okay, document current system and analysis complete. So this is to show that the analysis is complete on 11th of January 2017. Okay, for phase number 2 design, so phase number 2 start once phase number 1 finish, and it's going to take until January 30. Okay, so this is the phase and this is the task. Okay, so for this task, the persons who responsible for it is Jennifer. Okay, so this is the complete task. This is, okay, not yet complete. The software design baru 56%. Okay, the interface design already complete, and the create design specification it's 33%. Okay, so on and so forth lah sambil. And you can see when we differentiate this, we can differentiate this when we use the project management tool. We can see how we differentiate between the colors, person responsible, so on and so forth. Okay, we can also use this one, okay, Gantt chart tool. Basically, we have the task name, phase, task name, okay, milestone and duration, start date and finish date, and automatically we can get the what we call it, a duration for each of the tasks. Okay, so when we have this diagram, okay, we can see that, okay, now we are in day 9, so we can see, okay, the status of day 9, it should complete task A, task B, and quarter of 5 quarter lah kita kata, 3/4 of the phase C. Okay, then 1/4 of phase D. So we have another the rest of phase D and phase E. So at any time when the stakeholders or the sponsor want to see the progress, we can show, okay, so this is the overall, and let's say the progress for day 11 or week 11, then they can see, oh, so they should finish all of the task A, B, C and half of the task D. Okay, so this is another example. Okay, so on top of we create the Gantt chart, okay, to see the what overall planning of the project, we can also have the activity analysis using the activity on the node, which is AON. So for each of the activity, we can have the description and estimated days. Okay, so for this table on how we can read that, okay, estimated days, estimated duration of days for activity A is 2 days. And that's predecessor, we don't have previous task that we need to do before we can start with task A. Activity A. So for activity B, it can start after activity A. So if the question asks you how many days it takes to complete activity A and B, so it should be 5 plus 2, 7 days. Okay. Activity C start once we complete the activity B. And at the same time, we can start the activity D parallel with activity C because activity D can be started when we complete the activity D. Okay, so macam itulah cara baca dia. And this is how we can present it in the network diagram. So we have activity A, no previous activity before A. And once A complete, we have the activity B. And once activity B complete, we can either start with activity C, D or E. So you can see from this table. Okay. C, D and E can be started when we complete the activity B. Okay, so the rest it will depend. Okay, so this one means activity S can be started once we complete activity C or complete activity D. Okay, activity G can be started when we complete the activity D as well as activity E. So sampailah habis, this is the last activity which is activity J. So activity J, we can start activity J once we complete the activity H and I. Okay, so these are the possible activity paths where you combine all of the paths provided and plus the days estimated duration of days, then you can get the total. So this is the term tadi. Apa nama tadi? Realistic project. Okay, because you already have the calculation, you already know how many days should it take to complete each of the tasks or activities. So the critical path is the longest lah. Okay, the longest path. Okay, the shortest time project can be completed where we have the zero slack or float. The amount of time activity can be delayed before it delays the project. So we need to monitor and manage so that we can, as a project manager, we can expedite or crash by adding resources. Kalau activity tu ada problem here and there, so we can control or manage the project by maybe add resources, whatever possible solution that we think it should be possible for the project. Okay, fast tracking, running activities in parallel. Okay, the CP can change and we can also have the multiple. Okay, for the PERT, okay, program evaluation and review technique. Okay, this is how PERT being developed dulu. Okay, so PERT, the formulanya, okay, we have the estimate, optimistic days, most likely estimates days, and pessimistic days. So optimistic ni yang paling ideal lah kita kata. This one longgar sikit, and this one sepatutnya yang the longest that we can kita kata spend to complete activity A. And expected duration is the formula A plus 4B plus C divided by 6. Okay. So kalau ikut tadi A optimistic activity A 1 day, 2 days and 4 days. Okay, so sepatutnya yang ni yang paling cepat lah boleh dibuat. So number ni dia mesti besar atau sama, tak boleh kurang. Okay, besar atau sama. Okay, sama pun logik. Yang ni memang contohlah maybe activity E tadi apa, set up server je. test web page. Okay, dia tak survey activity D. Okay, then you do the calculation lah. So from the calculation, we see that we have possible 5 path. Okay, so apa nama the calculation ni, lepas tu ikut dia punya formula divide by yang ni kan, expected duration ni divide by 6, campur semua, then you will get total numbers. Okay, yang you campur ni, yang ni the expected duration. Okay, expected duration ni we get the numbers from ni, optimistic, most likely and pessimistic. Okay, campur semua, then you get the critical path. Okay, then we have the precedence diagramming method. It's either finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, or start to finish. Okay, ni dia punya relationship example. Okay, so from this, okay, lead and lag time, lead to starting the next task before the first task is complete. Lead macam tadi, contoh tadi, ni. So dia boleh lead. Okay, before the previous task tu complete. Okay, lag pula, adding of a buffer of time before the next task as the next task begins. Okay, once the wall have been painted, wait for 1 day before laying the carpet. So ini example dia. Yang tadi, whilst installing the operating system, then when half of the PC are set up. Okay, CCM. Apa yang dicerita tentang CCM, introduced in 1997. Okay. If people build safety into their estimate, then the project still late. They're going to term student syndrome, procrastinating until the last minute before starting to work, or Parkinson law, either the work expand to fill the time available. Okay, so dah buat betul-betul ni, tapi masih ada, kita kata the project still late ataupun delay. Okay, this is the assumption of CCPM tadi. Okay, you baca ni. And the critical chain project schedule, kita boleh tengok Okay, kalau ikutkan dia punya ni, 10 days for each of the task. Okay, tapi bila kita ada critical change, so we can make it 5 days for each of the tasks. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. Lepas tu task D ni, ada lagi dia punya buffers. Buffers tu maksudnya we need to spend some time to complete. Okay, the CCPM, the critical path similar, and we have that everyone understand each project has 50% chance to being completed on schedule. Okay, so satu-satu task tu memang ada 50% chance because of it's either you can finish within the schedule or late. Okay, so kalau normally kalau we complete the task after the duration given, normally kena penalties lah. Tapi kalau complete the task before the schedule, the time given, so ada bonus ataupun ada incentive. Okay, the project management software tools banyak. Yang tadi dia mention the Gantt chart, okay, in Microsoft Project. Network diagram and critical path in Microsoft Project pun ada. Okay, and then how we can develop the project budget. Okay, so the project budget ni kat Microsoft Project pun ada dia punya ni. Then we need to look at all of the possible costs, direct, indirect, okay, sunk, learning curve, prorated and reserve. Okay. how we can finalize the project budget and the schedule. So we have normally is require several iteration before it can be accepted by the sponsor. Okay. Okay, selepas ni baru ada yang budget punya ni. Okay, so we also need to look at the resource allocation. So sebenarnya kita kena tengok semua resources ni. It can be the person, it can be the facilities, it can be the technologies. Okay, and then once we have the project schedule and project plan, when it is accepted, then the project plan can become the baseline plan. So this is the kita kata document that we refer to. Okay, and after that bolehlah buat kick off meeting. Okay, that's all for chapter 6 kan.